Oh, hello everyone. I'm back. I just want to quickly go back to what I was sharing. I wanted to quickly add the image of the rainbow crow, or I call it the rainbow raven, because for me, uh, I actually learned the artist who made this, and I'll make sure to credit him at the end of this video. I'll put it in the link description. He actually um, I guess got in some inspiration for his art piece from a Lenape legend, and I'll see if I can read what he posted here. This was 6 years ago. Or actually, his artist name is Lionsong. The rainbow crow brought forth fire to the world, which sounds very similar to the Tlingit and Haida origin story, and also Tsimshian, a lot of Pacific Northwest tribes, to fight back the dark and cold of winter. But in the end, it cost him his feathers and song, so that they became black and hoarse. Yet it gave him freedom, for none would capture him for song or beauty. His feathers still have a hint of iridescence, a reminder of his sacrifice. The stories from the native people of the Northeast, the Lenape, be right here. So I get an image of the Lenape. So they live in the U.S. and Canada. Wonder, the Lenape were connected to the Haida and to the Tlingit because they have a very similar origin story. I'd be surprised if they were, at least to some extent. For you? Yeah. Okay, so so where were we? Okay. Oh yeah, the Yenisa. Okay, so that was a bit of part of my lineage actually, because I saw that a little bit from my dad's phenotype, and then could have even been from like it had been my dad's grandmother on his father's side, so it would have been his dad's mother. Um, uh, Dad didn't tell me her first name, but we do know that she was named, at least her last name, grandmother Borja, which is a Spanish name. And yeah, and I think maybe some of the Yanisa could have come from there as well, potentially. But so the Yanisa actually, seemingly enough, are connected to the people from some of the natives from the Pacific Northwest, actually, even close to the area I'm at. So be connected with the I mentioned the Tlingit, Haida, Coeur d'Alene. Uh, gonna no, I just to kind of honor them. Um, aside from them being called the Coeur d'Alene Indians, which means heart of the owl, because Coeur means heart, or Spanish would be corazón, Irish would be Cree. Um, to say it in their language would be Sushimish. I'm trying my best to say it because it sounds like a lot like sushimi, but it's not sushimi. It's sushimish. Maybe this some of the sushimish like sushimi or sashimi. So, you ever had sashimi before? It's a Japanese delicacy. Um, but again, well, maybe maybe some of them do like it. You never know. So, but anyways, um, so yeah, so I think when I look at my closest native lineage, at least that I'm genetically related to, because I was looking at like tribes here, and it was telling me that for my dad, like he got a lot of tribes genetically closest to. He had some tribes from South America because well he because well that was where he was born before he immigrated to the U.S. while I was born here. But for me, and as my uncle Herman tells me, everyone is as unique as a snowflake. My closest tribes I was genetically related to was, aside from Europe, being mainly European, I got America ancestral Puebloans, so that's the Southwest, and makes me think a little bit about Hyopatian and others. Also got America Canadian West Coast tribes, which would be Haida, Tlingit, Simishin, so probably also connected to Jess as well. Maybe my great grandmother Lita as well. We also got America US West Coast Fishers, so those would be um, really connected to people who would closely resemble the Jomon. So remember I told you about the Jomon, right? About the Aoshima people. That these were some of the connected to some of the original natives. So I want to show you. Um, I'm gonna show you the no, not here. A little bit. Let's see. I have an image. Be connected to the Yuki, which I believe in Japanese it means no. Yeah. So here. So to me, these were some of the original natives, the connected to the Jomon. And so you see here it says, arrived with one of the oldest migrations to the Americas, shared some features with the Ainu Jomon. During the last century, is still present along the California coast. As continues, yeah, and then it talks about the descendants being the Yuki, Pomo, Wailaki, Kato, Ochnom, and Wapu. So I feel like I have a connection there with the again, like I said before, the Jomon. I know not every native does, but um, I at least do. See an image of some of the Jomon. See a lot of them grew beards actually. Reminds me a lot of the Tlingit actually. The Tlingit elders with the beards. Reminds me a lot of them. See the Tlingit elder here. And then this elder reminds me actually a lot of a mine elder, Tate Pedro Cruz. I feel like they're connected, yeah. Then, and he reminds me a lot because he spoke a lot about love, of one of his messages that he wanted to share to the world, and he reminded me a lot of the founder of Aikido, Murohie Ueshiba. And one of his quotes was, "True victory does not come from defeating an enemy. True victory comes from giving love and changing an enemy's heart." And he reminded me a lot of Tate Pedro Cruz. Because it goes back to the Jomon lineage. Um, you can see how the Tlingit elder, the Mine elder, and the Japanese elder, all three of them are connected. So let's try to see how we can. There's another another samurai uh, warrior I connect a lot with. Actually, my old friend Jess used to actually shared a little bit about him to me. But to me, I feel like he was a mixture of both Yayoi and Jomon, so both indigenous Japanese and then what would eventually become the modern Japanese and beyond. And there's a quote that I love that he shared, and it says here, "A river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence." And there's actually a Lakota elder that I watch from time to time. Her name is Cheryl Angel, and she talks a lot about water and about the water and the importance of water. And when I think about the blood quantum, it's almost like you have this rock, that says, no, I don't want to change. No, I don't want to. No, no gaijin, no foreigner, no nothing. No, I just want to be the same. I don't want to ever change. But then you see the river says, no, you have to keep going. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. Because if we don't keep going, then the water becomes stagnant. It becomes like the water in Salt Lake City, and then you get the Mormon muck, and then maybe even with some of the Paiutes connected to some of the Aztecs, this is probably what they struggle with is getting that stagnant water that needs to be healed. See, you have to be careful of that. And again, it's a person's choice. Some people will say, um, no, we don't ever we just want to be whatever, but then there are others that will decide a different path. And I know the Rainbow Prophecy, which I know a lot of people know about the Rainbow Prophecy from the Hopi. Um, but let's see, I notice this is one thing I love about the Hopi. The Hopi, they understand. They I don't think they're as, at least some of them, I don't think they're as kind of entrenched in this idea that that you have to um, that they're more willing to spread the seeds. It reminds me a lot of the some of the Egyptian elders about the Samiyas, being willing to spread, your energy of love, really. And then it says here, when the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, a new tribe of people shall come onto the earth, for many colors, classes, creeds, and who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth great again, and they will be known as the warriors of the rainbow. This reminds me a lot of the Kawesqar about they had a son and named him Rainbow. And maybe that's where the Hopi got it from. Maybe they got it from the Kawesqar. Because I think the Hopi, some of the original ancestors, if you go back to, because they're really their original lineage actually goes back to, at least part of it, back to Hawaii. Or I think I know some of the Hawaiians, or even one of my, I watched this Mexican YouTuber called Fluffy, and he said he felt at home when he went to Hawaii, and he calls them swollen Mexicans, or yeah. He's kind of a funny one, I like him. Uh, but anyways, um, but yeah, so when you look at the maternal haplogroup B, this is also a maternal haplogroup that's also seen in Japan as well, because remember, the Japanese, despite what some people say, I know some people are saying they're all the same, they're all, I know some people even use the word NPC, which somehow they think they're all robots or something, but that's not the case. Um, Notice how haplogroup B is also a very important lineage in Japan as well. You can see it, especially in Okinawa. It's very prominent there. Um, yes. So, um, but let's go to maternal haplogroup B because I know this is because I know some, especially some of the Mexicans, which I feel like this is part of their maternal lineage. They'll say, what about us? What about me? And I'm like, all right, all right, all right, all right, I gotcha. So maternal haplogroup B, its highest, actually, so I was actually watching a Japanese YouTuber named Nomad Push, or Homeless in Japan. He grew up in, I think he spent time in Saipan, growing up there. I didn't know that was where the most prominent maternal haplogroup B was. Um, I'll see if I can get you an image of him. He reminds me a lot of Yajirobe. I'll show you who Yajirobe is. I'll see if I can get an image of him on the motorcycle because he's crazy. Yeah, I love him. Yeah, so you see, like, no, that's a bit crazy, but I like him though. He's great. Um, So yeah, he reminds me a lot of Yajirobe, which is one of the characters from Dragon Ball, an anime I enjoy watching. So he's great. He has like it feels like a connection to not only Japan but also Korea, and that probably comes from the yayoi, um, which I'll see if I can get a an art of the like some of the original people of like an art form. Yeah, so people kind of who look like this, it kind of reminds me a lot of uh, yeah. He's a bit crazy, but I like him. Yeah. So yeah. No, it's fun. Um, ooh, sorry. Oh yeah, I wanted to share the rest of the native lineages real quick I got. Because really to me it's all kind of balanced because I noticed from my dad like it was a little bit more spread apart because I think like for him he just had a bit like of a stronger, somewhat of a stronger connection to well I think he had kind of an even mix, but I think I even have more of a little bit more of an even mix. Because for him I noticed especially when it got to like anything Canadian, like it got a little bit further away. But for me it's all really like close together. Um, so we got U.S. hunting tribes, Canadian East Coast tribes, Puerto Rican Araucans, and I have some uh, friends, that also have Native American lineage from Puerto Rico as well, in Cuba, Ganahatabe. And it was kind of cool too because my mom, even though she's primarily of European descent, um, she grew up in Cuba for a time before she also came to the U.S. I thought it was pretty interesting. We also got the Zapotec civilization, which is in Mexico. And then we got the Fueguan tribes, which is Patagonia. And speaking about Patagonia, I want to show you real quick that I did get matched with a Patagonian fisherman from Chile. This is where, and said that he lived in Madre de Dios Island, which in English it just means Mother of God, or Mother of Gods, really, Madre de Dioses. No, I think that's right, yeah. Um, I think there's another name for the island as well. Um, I know there's also Wellington Island, so. And I would have to see actually how far Wellington Island is away from here, or from island distance to Chile. Well, that's not that far. It's just probably like 30 miles, I'd say. Let me see, let's see what, 60 miles. Okay, still not that far. A little bit. Then you can see here the paternal haplogroup was QM3. QM3, I think, I'm not sure if that's. Oh, yeah, here's the Filipino. I think this is why some Mexicans are called Filipino, as well. The haplogroup B is also connected to not only Hawaiians, but also Filipino and Vietnam, and also parts of southern China and some of the Vietnamese. And also, again, like I said, it's also connected to Japanese, Koreans. It's all connected, just there's a bit of a higher frequency Polynesia and Southeast Asia. So, yeah, so this is also Condor, B1B. The maternal haplogroup is most likely D4H3 and C because I love him though, he's great. But yeah, so you look at the paternal maternal lineages of Patagonia, and you see now in northern Patagonia. The far north, you have a large percentage of haplogroup B, which is more of the, my Uncle Herman calls it the Hawaiiana lineage, or Hawaiian. And so that's probably connected to maybe some Amadi people, who are also in some ways connected to the Quechua, but even some ways might, though they have on average, I think, less descendancy from the Incas than the Quechua, but they had been the far north. But notice as you see how as you get further south, you transition from B to a lot more of like a D and a C lineage. I know Cheryl, one of her videos, she watched one of the Mapuche elders, um, and in some ways, she did remind me a little bit of my um grandma Pama when she told me that before she passed away, she said to me, "I'm glad I have such a beautiful grandson." It really gave me strength when she said that. And then when I listened to the elder, so the Mapuche elder, in some ways she did remind me of her a little bit as well. So maybe I have a little bit of that lineage inside of me too, but I feel like I also have some of the Kawesqar as well. But you see, for me, it all kind of intersects because I know some natives want to say, I'm Apache, I'm just Apache, I'm Cherokee, just Cherokee, I'm Blackfoot, just Blackfoot, I'm Lakota, just Lakota. And to me, I can't. To me, I'll say no. My lineage goes from Greenland to Patagonia. That's how I look at it. But anyway, so you notice the Mapuche, they also have some of the Hawaiiana lineage, but not as much as those in further north. But notice as you get further south, especially as you get to like Teleche, Yaghan, Kawesqar in the far south, B really kind of takes the back seat, while C and D become a lot more prominent. So again, like my great grandmother Lita, she reminded me like a lot, looked a lot like one of like the Aleutian women, which to me is more like East Asian. But I'm gonna see if I can get this because I think so. Let's see if I can get it. So basically, people who look more similar to this remind me of like a lot of my great grandma Lita. And I always remember she would smile at me, and whenever we would eat, and always made me happy. So you can see this lineage is also very prominent, especially in Japan and even Uyghurs, Orkin people. These are reindeer herders. I think my uncle Herman told me one of the Cherokee actually looked similar to one of them. Oh, and there's also connection to the Paiute and some of the Shoshone. But again, that's why you have to be careful with that blood quantum. Because I think even with like, especially in Korea, um, you know, some of the Koreans, did not want to intermarry, outside of their lineage, because I think it was just kind of part of their philosophy for a time. It eventually changed, though, thankfully now. Um, and I think when some of the descendants, some of the Yayoi who went to Japan, I think when they mixed with the Jomon, I think they eventually started seeing things a little bit different. But even the Japanese have had to, they needed a little bit of time before they could open up a bit more. Um, but I think that they're seeing it as a good thing now. So yeah, so oh yeah, let's see. Let's show you guys. So after Patagonia tribes, here's Bahamas, Arawakan, Mayan civilization, Brazil, Savannah foragers, and that was one of the top ones my dad initially got. Venezuela farming tribes, Hispaniola, Macorix, Chiayo, Hispaniola Araucans, Chauvin civilization, and that's in Peru. And then Proto-Athapascans. But it's all very close, you see. So, show you guys a little bit more. So this was kind of cool. I like because I know that some of the Tlingit